Greetings, fellow visitors. This is Upgrade Terminal, a Star of Providence fancast. I'm Malachi.
And I'm Nick. Welcome back to the facility. Alright, for today's episode, we are going to be talking about the Trials, one of the features introduced in Into Oblivion, and honestly, something that I find really exciting and really cool. And with us today, we have Ruben. Say hello, Ruben.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Nice to be back.
Yeah, welcome back, Ruben.
Frequent guest of the show, Ruben. Good friend of the show. Before we get started, there is one thing I'd like to do. Now, we did say, at the start of the show in episode 0 that, in this podcast, we're basically full spoilers mode. We're going to be talking about everything. For this episode, I'm going to issue a special spoiler warning for the trial specifically, because
Spoiler warning. Sorry, I hit the wrong button. Sorry, Nick. Go ahead.
Anyway.
Sorry, go ahead. I pushed my keyboard far away.
Anyway, as I said, I would want to issue a special spoiler warning for this episode because the trials, they contain a lot of interesting stuff, a lot of juicy stuff, but there may be even secrets that you're not even aware of exist within them, and sort of something hidden even deeper than some people may realize, especially if they're not in the Discord server and they already know all of the stuff. So again, special spoiler warning. If you really don't want to be spoiled on Trials, be warned that we may reveal stuff that you weren't even aware existed. Just so you know. With that little bit of business out of the way, let's just start with how we usually do. Let's sort of talk about something nice that happened to us this week. And Ruben, since you're our guest, you go first.
Yeah, great. I was actually listening to what you said earlier, and I'm not really sure I even know what you're hinting towards with like the super special secrets within the trials. Ooh. I probably do, but I'm actually not.
So that spoiler warning was for you.
That was
for me. No, Ruben, I know you already know what it is, but I'm saying like for just casual listeners, people who like are not in the Discord server or may not be very curious, then be like, wait, I didn't know that was there. What does that lead to? Don't worry.
Okay.
If you're like in the Discord server regularly and you're like you've cleared everything, you already know what it is. This is just for everyone else.
Okay. Now I wasn't sure from your description, like, is there something even special? Because I don't check the Discord too often.
No, I'm pretty sure you've got everything already.
Okay, sorry to derail it.
No worries.
But I do have actually something nice that happened to me this week. Well, okay, it's not something one specific thing. It's more of a series of things. I've been in a really I don't know, music seeking mood for like the last few weeks, I want to say. And I don't know, I've been just like piling up like my backlog. Okay, I want to listen to this, I want to listen to this. And there's a few albums like that this week that I would already consider like new favorites that I just found like while working on stuff. Some of them are from new bands that I've never heard of. I even wrote down a little note in our podcast here trying to pronounce the name of the band. It's an Italian progressive rock band, Piccio dal Pozo. I think is the name. Really beautiful album, self-titled. There's been one from bands that I already like. Have any of you ever heard of Low, the American like slowcore band?
Low?
They're just called Low, as in like lying low.
I have not.
No, I have not.
They make really like nice, like quiet kind of. I guess it's fair to call them rock music, but they're usually very mellow. There's only 3 members in the band, like very soft vocals, and I really love listening to those when I'm studying on stuff. But there were a few albums in their backlog I'd never checked out, and one of them is a new favorite that I listened to this week called The Curtain Hits the Cast, and it's really, really nice.
The Curtain Hits the Cast.
That's the name, yeah.
It's a great album title.
I don't know, they're all very evocative. I think, in their titles and stuff. I was reminded of them because one of the lead singers of the band passed away a couple of years ago. That's how I first
Oh.
found out about them.
Mhm.
But a bit of a morbid way of discovering like a band. But I like to believe that I've been, I don't know, like looking into their legacy and really being able to appreciate it, because most of these albums have been made in like the late like 90s. Like they're
Hmm.
pretty old by, I guess, like modern music standards.
Huh.
But I've been really enjoying like searching through their backlog. So it's not really one specific like nice thing that happened to me this week, but I've just been finding like all sorts of like cool stuff. I'm like, oh, this is gonna add this to like my playlist, and like I don't know. I organize music on my computer for like favorite stuff, and I think I added like 5 new things to it like this week alone.
Wow.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So you've found a lot of gems to add to the collection.
Some of them are gems. Some of them are a bit more. I don't know. People know about them, and I'm like a bit late to the train and listening to them for the first time now. Like
Mm.
"Metal" from Pink Floyd. That's like not one of their most famous albums, but
Oh, one
it's
of
I
their
only
old
list.
albums.
Yeah. The one with like the 20-minute echoes track. But I'd
Hmm.
never heard of it before, and I knew it was like highly praised. All of my friends really like it, but I only checked it out this week, and I was like, wow, this is just as good as everybody told me it was.
Yeah, I think this is where when they were closer to their more psychedelic roots.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. That's awesome, Ruben. Thanks very
Hmm.
much.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be checking out those albums. That sounds very nice.
Malachi, what about you? What's something nice that happened to you this week?
So this week I learned of a new game that came out called the Everdeep Aurora,
Hmm.
and I read a review of it by Will Borger. He reviewed it on the website Shack News. It's a gaming news website. It was a really well written review. I have a weakness for well written reviews, and
Hmm.
it actually convinced me to buy the game immediately. I mean, there were also screenshots. It's a pixel art game, which I have a weakness for, and
Hmm.
the aesthetic overall is just lovely. So I read his review, I bought the game, and I've been playing that for the past couple days, and it is so awesome. There's a line from Will's review that I want to share with you guys because it ties into why this game is why I wanted to jump into it right away. But he said, the world may be ending, but that doesn't mean it isn't worth fighting for. And small moments can often move the needle of a life in a way we don't expect.
Hmm.
That
Hmm.
really resonated with me because I think for the past few months, I've been thinking a lot about being present in the moment and
Hmm.
more aware of the people around me. Um, And there was an article I read by Linda R. Trop. She's professor of social psychology at University of Massachusetts Amherst. And I read this when it was a few months ago as well. And it's kind of, the article is called Making Eye Contact and Small Talk with Strangers is More Than Just Being Polite, the Social Benefits of Psychological Generosity. And this article had a huge impact on me. And um, I mean, she basically talks about how, like, psychological generosity, the concept is like using your mental resources on others besides ourselves.
Hmm.
And when I was going to university, I would take the train every day. And when I first started going to university, like, iPhones and smartphones were not as ubiquitous as they are now.
Hmm.
And I was always talking to people. And I
Hmm.
had so I was a foreigner. I was living in Taiwan, and so if I was doing homework on the train or something, like, usually someone would be like, "Oh, you can speak Chinese," and that would always start a conversation. But just
Hmm.
people in general were really friendly, and I was always talking to people, and I always came away from those conversations feeling like really uplifted. Like, it would usually in the morning, like, you would think like I'm tired and some stranger's going to talk to me, and it would be like annoying, but it actually was really nice. And then as university went on, as times changed, like, everybody had smartphones and they had headphones, including
Hmm.
myself, right? And all of those conversations that used to happen on the train and all of that social interaction vanished. And so reading this article really resonated with me, just because I'm like, man, I feel that. Like, I feel um just kind of how this epidemic of loneliness that is seemingly impacting the entire world is impacting me personally, even though I do have friends and there are people I talk to, but still I don't have as much social connection as I used to. And so after I read this article, I resolved to like stop just being in my phone all the time. And I've started talking to strangers a lot. I live in a small town, and so I have a lot of opportunities to do that, whether it's at the coffee shop, you know, the library, wherever I'm at. I've been trying to say hello to people, make eye contact with them. And I have to say that it has been a wonderful experience. And I'm really, really grateful that I read this article uh, by Linda R. Trop, because I just feel like it pushed me over the edge to resolve to do that and just kind of step out of myself and try to be more present and talk to people. And it's not always, I'm not talking about like huge conversations, but just, even uh, just asking questions of people that I'm around. And yeah, anyway, it's been a really good experience. But that's why Will Borger's review that really hit me. I was like, man, if a game is touching on this thing that I've been thinking about recently, I really want to play it. And yeah, so I highly recommend Everdeep Aurora. I'm only a few hours in, but it is a really, really special game. And I also recommend talking to the people around you. It's really, really improved my overall outlook on life recently.
Sounds like much needed improvement.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I was in like a terrible, terrible dark place or anything, but with everything going on in the world, especially as an American, like just reaching out to people, I think is meaningful, and that's why, like Will said, it's a small thing, but I think that can move the needle, and that's really most days all that I can do. I can't go out and change any of the awful things that are happening, but I can change the way
Hmm.
I'm interacting with the people around me. So
And this also ties into the sense of like, when you act, you cannot know what consequences your actions will have.
yeah,
Like it's a butterfly effect of like, it may be in like 5 years time, because I was nice or I did this, like it's a pleasant memory for someone to remember, and that just help them out that day. You can't know for certain. All you can do is just seize those opportunities and
yeah.
turn them into moments that you feel like the other person would happily remember, and you also remember to yourself, but you know I did something nice for someone else, and that is just as important.
Yeah, this is going longer than I intended it to, but do you mind if I read like a short little blurb out of the article?
Sure.
Please do. I'm really curious.
So, and I think that this is the part that really grabbed me when I was reading it, and I was like, okay, so there's a section that says how others interpret your actions. And so Linda, or Professor Trop, wrote, also, by focusing so much attention on their own individual interests, people may inadvertently signal disinterest to others in their social environments. As an example, imagine how it would feel to be on the receiving end of those daily commuting rituals. You find yourself surrounded by people whose ears are closed off, whose eyes are down, and whose attention is elsewhere, and you might start to feel like no one really cares whether you exist or not. As social creatures, it's natural for human beings to want to be seen and acknowledged by other people. Small gestures such as eye contact or a smile, even from a stranger, can foster feelings of connection by signaling that our existence matters. I'm sorry,
Hmm.
you guys. I'm getting really emotional just reading this, but she says instead, when these signals are absent, a person may come to feel like they don't matter or that they're not worthy of others' attention. Unquote. Sorry, guys. Um,
I
It's
was not
fine.
expecting this to happen. I'm gonna be honest.
I wasn't either. I wasn't either, but
So,
I think that this is really powerful, and I am I I do think that our actions, even on the smallest level, when we look at somebody, when we smile at somebody, they have a huge impact. And so, just this last week, or in the past couple months after I read this article, and I've been doing this, um, I'm going to try to continue to do it because I know that I agree with this. I agree with this the thesis here.
Mm-hmm.
it's exactly the word I was thinking of, like when you said it, like very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know. That's Thank you for sharing that. I thought it was beautiful.
It certainly has moved you tremendously.
Yes, yes, yeah. No, and yeah, I'm sorry to get emotional, but it's powerful stuff, I think. And there are a lot of lonely people out there, so
Mm-hmm.
we should do our best to
Mm,
push against that.
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Nick, what's something nice that happened to you this week?
I was gonna talk about something nice that happened to all of us this week.
Oh, I think I know what it is.
Yeah, you probably do, but not everyone got a chance to witness it. But on Wednesday, we were blessed because at GDQ, community member Lilac Oligochi, also sometimes referred to as Taylor, showcased Star of Providence live on stream in front of thousands of people with
Mm-hmm.
pure doing remote commentary, and it was just such a wonderful moment, such a delightful moment to like not only see the game being showcased at like one of the biggest gaming events that there are, but by a community member who we all know, who is a wonderful person, who we know can make the game justice, who is enthusiastic, who knows the people and the community centered around it that sort of have kept the interest alive.
Yeah.
So it was just a wonderful, wonderful thing. And it was also just fun. It was fun because they also got to showcase one branch of Temple. They tried to see if Trespasser would show up. He did
Yeah.
not.
Oh, yeah. That was the only disappointing thing about that run for me. I was like, oh yes, Breachstone, Breachstone.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Mm.
Okay. And we did. They could have gone to see. They at least got to show off Ace. They didn't do Gauntlet, but they got to show off Ace as well. And it was just a wonderful thing. And it's been a so technically. The game had been shown off at GDQ before as Monolith, but it was when the game was smaller, and no shade to the person running it, but they were not someone who was aware of the community, so it felt a bit disconnected.
Mm-hmm.
Having it be Taylor was like, okay, no, this is not someone who's just showing off the game, but who is representing the community as a whole. And especially all of the shout outs at the end were just very, very good, very wonderful. And also all of the people who donated during the run, which includes you, Malachi. You donated.
I did. Yeah. It was a really cool thing. Like that's the first time I've seen somebody run in GDQ where I know them. So that made it like so much more exciting. And you're right, Nick, that Lilac did represent the community, and I thought it was a great showcase. Like you said, they took one of the they went to the temple,
Mm-hmm.
did one of the branches there. Like I think, and I saw a lot of people watching saying, "Whoa, this looks so cool! Oh, I got to check this out."
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it was a very, very good thing. It was a good run, and it was a great chapter in the history of the Starcraft community.
I mean, it's well known that a game getting shown off at GDQ can be like a tremendous like marketing for the game, essentially, like a wonderful promotion. Like two of the games that I have really dedicated a lot of hours into are games that I first saw being played at GDQ, and I'm like, that looks really cool. I want to get into that, and I did. So I'm glad that Taylor's run can be that for other people. Like this can be the start of their journey.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And I know what you're saying too about like if you know someone that you personally know is running like in an event like GDQ, like how exciting that can be. I was gonna
Mm-hmm.
make the analogy. I normally don't go to like sport event games or whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend. I think it was like a couple of months ago. He's on hockey. And I was like, "Oh, Ruben, do you want to like come in and watch me play like with my team because they're doing like a national tournament and stuff?" And I went in, and no, not probably, it's definitely the most excited I've ever been for like a sports game. Just knowing the
Yeah.
people that are playing makes it so like I was so much more invested in it than I would be otherwise. And it like regardless of skill level, right? This wasn't like a super official tour. Like it's mostly just like people playing for fun. But
Mm-hmm.
it was so like thrilling to see like them win. They also won, so that was even better.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's
for
awesome.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
Was it a close game, or did they just
No, they
destroy
kind
the
of
other team?
destroyed it. and
They're gonna
also,
want you to come to every game after this, Ruben.
it
Like,
was me.
you're a good luck
I was
charm.
the factor. I was the factor that changed everything there. Yeah. And yeah, final thing I'll say about the GDQ thing, like the run that was right before Star of Providence was a
Mhm.
game called Rayforce, or at least that's
Mm-hmm.
how it was like listed in the VODs that I got on my YouTube channel or my
Mhm.
YouTube feed. And similar to what you said, Nick, there's sometimes like a shmup or like an arcade game gets shown off at GDQ, but it's someone who's usually like a speedrunner or who's not involved in the community. And this game, or this time, it was a game called Rayforce, and it was shown off by one of the best like players we have around that's in the community. That's like a really wonderful person,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, it made me so much more excited to check out the VOD afterwards. Like being like, "Oh, Colin Fetzel's playing this. Let's see how he's holding up." And like, it makes a big difference compared to like if it's someone from inside the community or if it's someone who just has like a passing interest in the genre and who is really good still at the games, but
Mm-hmm.
that you don't have like a personal connection to, right?
Mm-hmm. Now, I think it is very important to recognize that a game getting shown off at GDQ, it's not just showing off the game; it's the opportunity for a shared community around that game to be like, here is someone who we feel is a good ambassador, a good community member, and so that they can help explain to people, like the passion and enthusiasm that has sort of collected around this game. This is and why we're so
Mhm.
excited to show it to you. And like this was like the perfect showcase of that. Of
Mm.
course, there's a lot more to the game that Taylor could show in like 25 minutes, and that's understandable. They're on a schedule.
Yeah.
But it showed Ace. I think maybe showing off Ace but not talking would have made people be like, what was that? What's that about?
Was it
Second, what was that? Yeah.
yeah.
Just like, well, maybe if you get the game yourself, you can find out.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I thought that Lilac and Pierre both did a great job on the commentary, and I mean, Lilac was posting about how nervous they were, and man, I would be so nervous doing that too. But
For
yeah, they did an
sure.
awesome job.
Yeah.
It might be no joke the biggest audience they've ever like done anything in front of.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's understandable that they would be slightly trepidatious about it.
Absolutely, there were at least like at all times I was watching it, there were over 30,000 people. So
Yeah,
big
that
crowd,
that
big
that's
crowd.
more than some countries, if you think about it. I guess we should start plainly by just saying what they are.
Mhm.
Trials are a feature that you unlock as you play the game, in which you are tasked with. It's basically a sort of mini boss rush. You unlock the trials. You can buy them from Clinus, and you fully unlock them by beating every boss that is featured within the trial. And then the trial asks, can you beat all of them with some minor challenges and like drops in between them? It's a bit of a it's interesting thinking about it, because boss rush, or something like a boss rush, has been something that's been asked for in the community for years and years, and it was always the question of like,
Mhm.
well, how do you do a boss rush in this game? Like, because a lot of the game is weapons and upgrades and shops, and how would you do, like, are you not going to have shops and weapons and upgrades? Like, there was always the question of like, how would this happen? And like, I believe the plan to have these goes all the way back to Relics of the Past, and like a
Mhm.
lot of other things that were originally for Relics of the Past, scope creep and other things just kept pushing it further and further back.
Yeah.
But they were worth the wait, definitely. They're I understand that some people are not big fans of the trials, because they kind of break. They're different from how the game is normally played. It requires a different skill set. There's less of like, oh, you have to build up a loadout and maybe you'll get good items. No, this is more just a much more static challenge of like, you just need to beat all of these bosses in a row.
What's not to like about the rooms of pure punishment? Oh, I think some people I think some people, yeah, they're tough.
They're tough.
Mm.
And well, it kind of. So here's the thing. This is one of those things where if you're not much of a shmup, if you're not much of a roguelike person, but you're very much a shmup person, these might appeal a little bit more to you, because there's less of like, oh, you have to build a loadout and you have to know the mechanics and like, what elements synergize with other elements. This is just more like, this is just straight up, you just fight all of these things in a row, and you just have to be good at that. And it's not like, oh, you can have a better or easier time if you find this or that. It's just like, these are just the fights and you're gonna have to beat it with this.
Yeah.
Go.
But you're definitely right there, because I think one of the things that I saw pre like Into Oblivion release was people saying in Trump servers like, "Oh, this game it's gonna have a boss rush mode." And it was like mentioned before, presumably in like a Discord somewhere, that this is like
Mm-hmm.
something that's being worked on. And people think, "Oh, okay, I guess I'll just wait until that like comes out and I'll buy the game."
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes people don't follow up on their word, but I saw a lot of discussion, especially around the last trial,
Mm-hmm.
from people like sharing strategies and being like, "Hey, I cleared it. Like, look at this video of me clearing it and stuff like that."
Mm-hmm.
So there's definitely like I don't know, like a kernel of truth to what you're saying, right? Because like for example, like in normal games, I guess normal games, like if you've like
What is a normal
if you have
game?
Link to the Past, for example, you've got the randomizer and you've got the normal game, and people like speedrun both. But that is a different kind of appeal to like different kinds of players, for like the improvisational parts, or like the really like honing down, doing something that's been predetermined, but doing it like as good as possible, like as like without it taking like damage, or just as fast as possible, regardless like of how you measure that skill, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you don't even have to worry about getting a good loadout, because like you're not getting one. Just
Mm-hmm.
beat it with this. And for some people, that can actually be like a relief. Like, oh, I don't have to even worry about this. It's just like, just beat it with this, and I know exactly what the game is asking of me and what I'm supposed and what is being expected of me.
Mm-hmm.
That's my perspective anyway.
Yeah.
Now, in the game, you have ugh, okay, I'm gonna have to retake that. So here we go. Here's where we're gonna fully unload all of the spoilers. Last chance for you listeners. There are a total of 5 trials in the game as of the current patch. We don't know if in the future there will be more. For right now, there are 5. So we have Trial 1 finishes with facing off against Overlord. Trial 2 finishes up going up against the Machine. Trial 3, Monolith. Trial 4, Database. And Trial 5 is a bit of a special one, because while you can access it as soon as you defeat Chaos God and all of the other prerequisite bosses, there's still an additional gate to be opened, and it is a bit of a meta puzzle to open it. But we will get to the meta puzzle aspect of it in just a little bit, because first we're going to talk about the challenge side of the trials. So, Malachi, I don't know if you wanted to say something regarding the challenge side of it.
Well, I have completed 2 of the trials. So I'm somebody who has not beat these. I'm kind of working on getting there.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that the vibes overall, and like the vibes are immaculate. I love the music, and like the fact that revisiting the bosses feels really unique and exciting. And
Mm-hmm.
so that, even though it's challenging, that aspect of it brings me back to it. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
glad the challenge is there, because the 2 that I've trial 1 and 2 I had to work at, and the taste of victory was very sweet indeed. And I
Mm-hmm.
know I'm going to beat Monolith eventually, trial 3. So I like having something to come back and chip away at, So I do like the challenge of this, and I'm glad that they took the time to polish it into what it is right now. How challenging were the trials for you, Nick?
I would say trials 1 and 2 felt, yeah, they're pretty good. Like, once you get over the initial jump scare at the end of trial 1,
Yeah.
which is a fun moment.
Yes, it is.
Once you get over that and you learn a little bit, you're like, okay, sure, I can beat these 2 trials. Chapters 3 and 4 are a step up in difficulty for sure, because like the final bosses of Monolith and Database are like, okay, these are tankier. You will have to know how to dodge a lot of these patterns in order to just survive long enough, because you have a pea shooter and some damage, but not a lot. So it's just a straight up shmup boss fight at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Which, and it's a little bit more challenging, but I could get there. Trial 5, on the other hand. So Trial 5, for people who don't know, Trial 5, you do it in intense lethality, which means you have a little bit of extra damage, but your health is capped at 5. And if you access it by solving the puzzle, you actually enter it at 1 health. Just 1. And then you have to defeat Grinder, Charlie, Fish, and Nightmare, which, for those of you who know your history, will notice those are all bosses introduced in Relics of the Past, which is very deliberate. And then you have to face off against a strange bespoke boss fight that doesn't appear anywhere else in the game, that it doesn't tell you what its name is, but the community just calls the council, because it's a very strange fight, because it doesn't work like any other boss fight in the game. It has a segmented HP bar, but not in usual way. You just have to clear 5 HP bars, and depending what phase it uses, a different one depletes. It's very interesting, very cool,
Mm-hmm.
but you do have to learn it.
Mm-hmm.
And that fight is actually pretty fair, honestly. Like,
Compared
if
to
you're
Fish.
just if you're focused and you're paying attention, you can get through it without much trouble. And then you fight Chaos God, which is Chaos God, by the way. Also, all of this is done on loop 7. So already there's additional scaling on top of that. So, like, it's not just Fish, it's Fish at loop 7 and in intense and in hard mode. So it's like really piling on the modifiers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then you fight Chaos God, which again was intended by the time of Relics of the Past to be the hardest boss fight in the game, and it was.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's not anymore because of what happens after. So after you defeat Chaos God, the game goes psych bitch, extra boss fight. And then you face off against Arbiter, a boss fight that is only available in Trial 5, and I would say is now top 2 hardest boss fight in the game.
Mm. For me, it's only available on YouTube.
So, because I was a beta tester, when I was doing Trial 5, it wasn't the same Trial 5 people got to see. There were being a lot of tweaks being made to the boss in the final weeks. So it's a kind of like, oh, this week Arbiter has these patterns. This other week Arbiter has these other patterns. It can be a bit just difficult, but boy, oh boy, beating that was so difficult, especially because you finally deplete its HP bar, and then it decides, actually, I have another HP bar on top of that, so fuck you. And it was such a grueling task for me to beat it. I managed to do it twice, once pre-release, once post-release,
Mm-hmm.
and it was such an ordeal. It was so difficult. It's Dialects knows what it feels like to be like, this is really pushing me to the absolute limit of what I can do at the moment, because you
Mm-hmm.
just have to focus so hard, and you're hyper aware of exactly how much health you have left. Because even though Arbiter will give you HP drops at certain points in the fight, you cannot get sloppy. You cannot like do autopilot on this. You have to be like on point the entire time. So
Hmm.
challenge wise, very tough, but extremely
Mhm.
rewarding to do so.
For sure. I kind of had the opposite experience with beating the trial, which is funny that you're describing it like that. because I remember I practiced it like a bunch by myself, just by my computer, listening to music. Like, okay, like getting to learn the attack patterns, the
Mm-hmm.
new kind of changes with like the council boss and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And I remember getting not very far each time, like when I was just playing by myself. But then I think I joined like voice chat with you, and I think Bulla was in there too, maybe some other people as well.
Mm-hmm.
And just the relaxation of like, okay, I'm just like talking to other people. I'm not like as like 1,000% focused on the game. It
Mm-hmm.
made me relax a little bit more, and I think because of that, because I wasn't like overthinking the whole thing the whole
Mm-hmm.
time, I think I actually did better, and I only really like locked in when I realized, oh wait, this run's like could be it. And then it was like I think it helped because it and I beat it like early, like later that day
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought
in
you
the
were gonna say
voice
you
chat.
beat it on stream, like when you were talking to everybody in voice chat.
Well, they were also, I think everybody was watching, but
Oh, okay, you did.
uh, okay, well, it took a few more times, but only when I realized, like when I got a bit more relaxed, and then as soon as like an opportunity arose itself,
Hmm.
then you get back into it, and then I don't know you've got the energy levels to match it, right? Because you haven't been stressing out the whole time over is fish going to give me an annoying pattern. If
Yeah,
it does reset, it doesn't matter. We're just like here, like
that's
relaxing and
awesome.
talking to each other.
Mm-hmm.
That was my way of beating it. Is to like not stress like, okay, I took an extra hit against the council. Oh no, like my shield's gonna get broken early. My HP parts aren't gonna line up and stuff. Like
Hmm.
the early parts, you just need to be able to do a little bit on autopilot. If you don't make a run, it's fine. You just restart, and like when it matters, that's when you get back into it.
Well, I
Yeah.
also just think you're just a better shmup player specifically. So I think you can be a bit more relaxed because you know you can trust your mind to just be like, I know how to do this, and like you just feel more comfortable. Whereas I, again, I'm someone who's came at this game more from roguelikes, so I would leverage a lot of the resource management of roguelikes and synergies, which
Right.
are completely absent in trials. So it's like, no, you just need to be good at boss fights, at Shuma boss fights. There's no alternative.
This is, I mean, this again. I think you're right there. I do also remember like when the update came out. There's like a few Trump players that stream on like the Twitch category, and
Hmm.
whenever I saw someone stream Star Providence, it was always Trial 5, like Chaos God or Arbiter. Like it was always like this the screen, like the thumbnails for the streams were always that.
Hmm.
So yeah, the people loved it.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was just like one of the, I would say one of two new highest summits to conquer in the game.
Hmm.
Like for the people who really want to prove that they've got it, Arbiter is one of them.
For sure.
Yeah.
You can't get lucky with like a triple homing pulse wave laser,
No,
instant
you can.
recall laser, like razor. No, nothing
Nope.
here to cheese it.
Nope.
You've
No,
got your
no,
damage ups and you've got your shields and a bit of HP. There you go.
and two bombs. Use
Two
them
bombs.
wisely.
Yeah, if you don't use them on fish.
If they,
I, you could use one on fish actually,
Oh, okay. It gives you another one.
because you get a third of a bomb from fish, a third of a bomb from a nightmare, then a third of a bomb from council.
Hmm.
Technically, you also get a third of a bomb from the flan between council and chaos god,
mm,
Ooh, does a flan gives you a
because it's
bomb
technically
piece?
no, because it's technically a combat. You're clearing combat, you get a third of a bomb
Oh,
back,
oh, I see. I see. Yeah. Okay.
which is not a minor thing. Like in my head, I'm like, okay, I can also bomb on nightmare, and like flan means I have two bombs for chaos god slash arbiter.
Yeah. Wow. Thanks, flan.
Yeah, thanks, flan. That's a phrase that's not uttered all that often in the community.
Yeah, I know. So for the puzzle aspect of it, um,
Yes.
I, I,
I would just want
yeah,
to say
yeah, yeah.
something. So,
Sure, sure.
so the thing about Trial 5 with the puzzle thing is that when people might hear about the trial puzzles, they might think like, oh yeah, like in Trial 3 you have to push these blocks around to get the items, or oh, in floor 4 you have to do like these inversions to, clear the way. And it's like, yes, but there's another meta puzzle hidden, because in every single trial there is a little, I don't know, the game describes it in a certain way, but it's a piece of something greater.
Mm-hmm.
One of them hidden in trials 1 through 4. And then when you go to trial 5, you can insert one of these pieces into like the gate at the start at the cost of 1 HP. And only when you collect all 4 can you put all 4 of them into the gate, and then you will finally have access to trial 5. So trial 5 is not just unlocking it, clearing the bosses, and buying it. It is, you have to go through the other trials and solve the puzzles. And depending on like your disposition or curiosity, you might not even notice that there is a puzzle hidden there.
Oh yeah, it took me a long time to notice anything
Mhm.
that like puzzly about it.
Yeah. There is one subtle clue, and that's if you clear trials 1 through 4, you will notice you have cleared almost all of the bosses in the game, but you're still missing a boss from floor 1, a boss from floor 2, and floor 3 and floor 4. Where are they? Where's Grinder and Fish and Nightmare?
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the little things you can notice, be like, there's something missing here.
Yeah. Well, I guess the achievements would also kind of hint at that too,
Well,
right?
yeah, because there's achievements for clear trials 1, 2, 3, and 4, and in Eulogy, which just says clear all trials. So you
Yes.
will get achievements from 1 through 4, and you will notice you still don't have that last one. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, huh? Well, what's up with that? Then you notice that, well, maybe there's one more. But yeah, anyway, you wanted to say something about the puzzle aspect of it, Egofar.
Well, I'm not usually a puzzle game guy.
Mm-hmm.
Baba is not me. I am a stranger to Void Stranger.
Mm-hmm.
I did like Gorogoa though, so go figure. But um, I think in general, I greatly admire the construction of puzzle games. It's incredible. I felt
Mm-hmm.
that about Tunic too. Like that's not, I didn't beat all the puzzles in that, but it's incredible, all the puzzles in that. And I feel the same with these StarProv puzzles. I admire the creation and existence of it. That being said, the puzzle aspects of the game just don't really do much for me,
Mm-hmm.
especially in Trial 3, which, like you said, the block pushing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to beat Trial 3, and I'm really tired of pushing the blocks to get all the items. I'm just like, yeah, okay, here we go. We'll do this again. Although it does get fast once you've done it a bunch, but
Yep.
still. Um, and this can all be circumvented by YouTube, so it's kind of a moot point. But the puzzle aspect of the game isn't for me, but I'm totally okay with that. I'm still glad it's in there, and I'm glad it exists because it's a really cool thing that adds a lot to like the world building and the vibe. The vibes are immaculate, which to me I think speaks to my admiration of Team D13. Like, no artist that you admire is always going to make something that hits for you, but they still put everything into whatever aspect of the game they're working on, right? And so I recognize that it's good stuff. I think it's really cool, and I'm glad that people have gotten a lot more out of it than I have.
I will say the third puzzle for Trial 3,
Mhm.
that one definitely frustrated me the most, I'll say. Especially once I got to the room where, like, every time you hit a block, it fires a laser in all directions,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
basically. Like, figuring, like, because if you make a mistake, instead of being like, oh, let me try it again, it's like, okay, so I have to find this first boss, second boss, would push this again. Like, there's like a 4 or 5 minute interval period between every attempt, which makes it
Yes.
really feel like, okay, I wish I could just like save state this or like look at this, just practice it a little bit to see like how the solution for this works.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
That's a good point.
the fact that there's like a bit of downtime that feels like, oh, okay, you made a mistake. Well, do this boss again, this boss again, this boss again, and then you get to have another attempt,
Mm-hmm.
which that frustrated me a little bit. I still enjoyed it overall,
Mhm.
but it was definitely a sign of relief when when I got it to like the final room. I was like, yes, I don't have to do this anymore.
Yeah, but it's like you get to the final room, and then you realize, oh crap, this is like the worst possible version of having to push blocks
Yeah.
when you see how many lasers there are.
hmm I guess I meant once it was over, but yeah, the final room was very interesting. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, it is legit a room where, like, okay, I took a screenshot and then an MS Paint just being like, okay, if I stand here and I push here, stand here and push here, and do all of this process.
hmm
Because I'm like, I'm not just gonna be improvising my way through this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with your point though, Ruben. If you could like step out of the room and come back in and have it reset or something, that would
hmm
be way more forgiving. But
Yeah.
it did make it really, really satisfying when I finally got the block through and got that little piece.
Hmm.
It's like, finally.
Yeah, yeah. So when the release of the game was coming up, and like we were beta testing trials, the devs pretty much told us, you know, all of the puzzles are constructed in such a way that you could figure them out entirely on your own if you wanted to. However, they are well aware that, well, a lot of people are just going to like lean on the community, and we're
Mhm.
not only just collectively solve them, but also just look up what the solution is. Which, you know, obviously that's not what the devs want, but they're like, yeah, well, we can't do anything to prevent it, so, you know, the answers are going to be out there.
Yeah.
But I found it very satisfying to solve three of them. I say three of them because the solution to trial 4, and I did mention this before, in beta there was a backup solution which I found, but it was nowhere near as satisfying as just noticing what it is that the game wanted you to do.
So I keep seeing something mentioned in the Discord about like an undiscovered flan secret.
Okay, that is,
Is
we
that
don't,
canonical? Is this am I being trolled?
the real answer is we don't know.
Okay.
It could be true. We don't
Mm,
know.
mm. Okay, listeners. If you want to rise to the challenge, you can find the flan secret that may or may not exist.
But did both of you like solve all of the puzzles on your own, or did you like do a little bit of like, can someone give me a hint?
I can start.
Yeah, go
Please.
ahead.
The first trial, I did do entirely on my own, like with the red ghosts and like finding the secret spots and stuff
Mm.
like that. That one felt very satisfying to figure out. One look, and also the escape sequence, I'll call it. I guess like once you get to the like if you shoot the walls to like reveal where you can and can't go.
Hmm.
Definitely the most terrified I've ever been playing the game for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that
Yep.
part is terrifying.
In all the like in the best way possible. That was not a dunk on the game. I really liked that part.
Hmm.
The
Hmm.
second trial, if I remember correctly, it's been a few months. That one, I don't think I solved entirely on my own. The ghost block where you need to have the
Quickening.
quickening, I was just kind of stumped because I'm so used at this point. The way I play the game is just like pop quickening as quick as possible and then build it max HP back up again.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
think I did something similar for the trials. Like, oh, I'm just gonna play it the way I play the game normally, and it didn't occur to me to save it for that room and then to get the block destroyed that way. That one I did have to look up. I think I just gave up at some point.
Hmm.
Uh, Trial 3, uh, I think I did almost entirely by myself. I figured out, okay, so you have to push the block to like the end because those are the hint for it, kind of basically, right? Like with the empty space in the final one.
Hmm.
Uh, the only part I looked up for that one was the not even the final room lasers, but one of the rooms where there's like four other blocks that are
Yeah,
kind of
I know the
protecting you.
one. Yeah.
I looked at it and was like, forget it. I'm a where's the wiki? Thank you. I should mention also, I was I did a lot less time between the periods where the first beta where the trials were introduced and the release
Mhm.
of Into Oblivion. So some of these I figured out while it was still in beta, but most of them, like especially when it came to Trial 3 and 4, at that point the DLC was already out and people were
Oh, okay.
discussing solutions and stuff like that. So I think at that point, I think I just went to like someone posted like a solution to it, like a video or a GIF or something like that. I was like, "Thank you, I'll copy this, please." That's very handy dandy. And Trial
Yeah, shout
Four,
out to the Star
yeah,
Providence wiki.
yes,
Yes, for
that's
real.
definitely where it was. Yeah, now that I think about it,
Hmm.
Trial Four, I realized what they wanted me to do with like this, which blocks you have to break and which ones you shouldn't. I
Mhm.
think I looked at it and was like, nah, I'm not busting out the paper and pen for this one. That one, I saw what they wanted me to do. I wasn't.
Yeah.
I figured out the puzzle is to do this, but I wasn't going to sketch it out. Like, okay, so this is this room, which is like this little enclave of this like symbol part. I think I
Hmm.
just looked at an answer up for that one already. I am. I kind of recognize myself in what you're saying, Echo Far, in the sense that I am less there for the puzzles and more so for the direct challenge. But
Mhm.
I tried to do as many of them as I could by myself until I got frustrated, basically. But I did get a lot of gratification from the ones that I did solve by myself. Those felt
Yeah.
really good, and I appreciate those being in the game.
I particularly appreciated the solutions that would kind of require you to have a little bit of game knowledge. For example,
Mm-hmm.
you need to know for trial 2 solution that, oh, when you pop like a when you stand where a block would face in, you take damage, and
Mhm.
b, when you pop quickening, there's damaging lasers that sprung from where you are. Like,
Yeah.
you need to know that that's something that will happen. Or with the solution trial 1, you need to know that, oh, if you use a bomb, it will blow out candles. That's something you actually see in the game. So
Mhm.
you need to know that the way you extinguish it is using a bomb.
I do like that too. Yeah, using like in-game logic to solve the
Mhm.
puzzles is very good.
Yeah, it rewards you for paying attention, or inversely, it can make you realize something about the game that you didn't necessarily know was true if you didn't
Mhm.
know it while you were solving the trials. So
Yeah.
I thought that was just. I think they're. I like them a lot. I understand why some people are not a fan of it. I will say it was a lot of fun on the release day. A lot of beta testers and devs were in like the beta testing channel being like, so how long until they notice? How long until somebody they start putting it together? And that
Mm-hmm.
was a fun couple of, I will say, hours, because
I
like
was gonna say
in
they solved it
hours,
pretty quickly.
yeah. But it was fun seeing the conversations and us in beta channel being like, oh, oh, they're getting somewhere. Oh, they're spotting the thread.
Huh.
That I quite enjoyed that. That was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a hint for trial 1 and then I figured it out on my own. Um I agree the maze part is very creepy. I think that's trial 1, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is
Yes,
trial one.
yeah.
The
Yeah.
maze in the dark.
It was very scary, and it took me way longer than it should have to realize I could shoot to see the walls.
Mhm.
I was just kind of like blind, like running blind through there, like ah.
Well, see,
Um,
that's an example of where like there is no analog in game that shooting walls reveals them.
yeah, yeah. And the rest, I tried them, and it was just like, yeah, I don't want to do this, and I just looked up the answer. But again, I want to say that like I think you can. I think I can easily admire that aspect of the game, and I'm glad it's in there, even though I personally didn't. It doesn't really click for me, you know.
Hmm. Oh, but we definitely had a few people in the community who are like, who are into puzzles and are like, this is excellent. I love it. Thank you.
Oh
But
yeah.
the puzzle thing is optional until you want to do trial 5. If you're just there for boss rushes, you can go 1 through 4 and not engage with the puzzles. Like, they're entirely optional
Hmm.
if you really want to. It's just when you get to trial 5, like, okay, now you have to like interact with this part of the game,
Yeah.
which I know a few people complained about. It's like, why do I have to do these things to unlock trial 5? And because
Because
that's the way the devs want it.
yeah, yeah, and hey, I'm all about respecting artistic vision. right? It's
Mhm.
like, yeah, that's fine.
But it is very interesting how there's this side of the game that asks for a completely different kind of challenge and skill set.
Well, there's one other facet to the trials,
Mm-hmm.
and it's something that I'm very glad is present in them, and it's kind of like the world building lore aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
What are each of your thoughts on that?
I mean, first question obviously is like, okay, where are the trials? Like, where are they taking place? It's the facility,
Trespasser's
kind of.
house.
They're just kind of in this weird space that's nowhere else,
Yeah.
which is fascinating. But also, there's a lot of like little breadcrumbs of like what happened out there, like,
Hmm.
or how what was going on outside the facility, and like these are like the remnants you find still functioning or still speaking that hint at just something. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know if any of you two want to say something more specific about that.
We had Coolant on to talk about the lore,
Mm-hmm.
and he kind of went over a lot of the stuff that happens in the trials. But I do love the kind of the information on what the visitors are made out of. Star metal.
Mm-hmm.
That is all very very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, you both know I love the world building and lore of Star Providence. It's one of the
Mm-hmm.
things that hooked me from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that I think locking world building and lore behind puzzles is always something where I'm kind of like, it kind of bums me out. But again, it's also something that this can be circumvented by YouTube, so
Mm-hmm.
it's not that big of a deal. But it just bums me out that some people might bounce off of it and never get to see that kind of stuff. But
I mean, there's also like world building locked behind just playing the game well.
yeah, that's true. No, that's true. But I think yeah, like I said at the start, like the vibes are just immaculate. So I do like how the trials expand on the lore
Mm-hmm.
in a small way. I don't think it gives us anything really concrete. And
No.
correct me if I'm wrong. There's nothing concrete. There's just it gives us a lot more questions to ask, and
Mm-hmm.
so I do like that. But frankly I would love it if the answer that I got for beating all the trials was something concrete. That would have been to me that would have been like an amazing carrot to kind of get me to work through the trials.
Hmm. Like, so you said you've seen it all on YouTube, so you know that the cutscene when you clear 5-5 is just arbiters basically saying how could it's impossible, but it's a kind of like anime. How can this be?
Yeah.
It's moment, and then you beat it. Okay, back to the menu.
Yeah.
That's it. You're okay. Cool. Thanks for playing.
Yeah, I just I also mean like so the lore it seems like it's talking about maybe Noel, right, was the assistant to the Grand Warlock or something like that. Like there's some vibes of that. Like someone was learning, an apprentice was learning from their master, and they looked too far into the void, and like all that is just super super cool and interesting. But there's just not enough meat on the bone. Like I don't know anyone that it's referring to. We don't know who it is. And then as I talked about in the lore episode, when like what caused me to kind of like disengage from the lore, maybe that's not the right word, but like to be like, oh, okay, so it's just question marks all the way down was like, oh, we're in a simulation and I have no idea who I am. And actually we're just playing through simulated events of what has happened.
Mm-hmm.
um that's like if there was something concrete at the end of the trials where it was like, oh, you are D13. You're playing through all of this because you're just trying to go back and see what you could have done to save Noel, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
when it's question marks all the way down, it just, for me, then it's still really good stuff. And there's still juice that's worth the squeeze, but I'm it's just a little bit less satisfying when I'm left wondering like what any of it even means.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you are playing a game made by someone who calls themselves Pure Question, so
It's
Yeah, you should have
true.
seen it coming, actually.
Yeah. Well, again, I have to say, I do love it and enjoy it for what it is,
mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
mean, and maybe it's a bit of a kind of cop out answer, but you also like that's the fact that it's like so open ended, isn't it? Like for you, like an invitation to have like interpretations like you just had, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
where you can be like, well, I'll just fill in the blank space and think of it as like D13 thinking of how he could have saved Null, for
Yeah.
example.
I
Yeah.
I th- I think it's a matter of like what each person's personal balance of like questions versus concrete things you need. Some people are very happy to just have loads of questions and nothing concrete, and other people want something that's way more concrete and a lot less mystery. I'm inclined to agree with Echofar that it would have been nice to have had as a reward to have something that felt like it answers a question. Not necessarily
Right.
all the questions, but just like tells me something. And I can be like, okay, I know that I can take this as like a point of reference or a fact. And it doesn't solve everything, but it just fills in a space instead of just creating more space.
Yeah, Ruben, I think you make a good point because I've spoken on the podcast at length in the past about how I do love the openness of the lore because it does give me space to have a headcanon. So I will always be on board with that. I think
Mm-hmm.
I think that, and I don't necessarily want to rehash this on this episode, but I think the reason it feels different to me now is because, like I said, there's too many question marks. Like before, I was playing as Null. Like my understanding of the game was I was Null. I was playing
Mhm.
through as Null. Then I was D13 following Null, right? And so like even though I didn't know all the story, there were these pillars of knowledge of like things facts that I knew to be true. And I feel like for me, like the open-endedness of lore is good if I have like some foundational pillars to hold up my headcanon, if that
Mhm.
makes sense.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
things
yeah.
I know,
Of course.
like undeniable truths, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
A
if
foundation.
yeah, if I have that foundation, then I can build very expansive lore castles, as it were. But I feel like what happened with the lore was my foundation was wiped out, and then I'm like, I don't know anything now, and I still enjoy swimming in the void of question marks, but I would like it if there was an island that I could rest on every once in a while.
It's a very deep ocean there, friend.
A deep green ocean of question marks.
Pretty much.
Yeah. It's beautiful when the sun hits it though.
I mean, but overall, I would say I think the trials were just by most measures just a very good addition to the game.
For
Absolutely.
sure.
Very
No
enjoyable.
doubt.
I love the challenge. I love the puzzles. I love the lore building and like the world building and the lore. And also bears mentioning the music in the trials is excellent. My
Yes.
goodness,
I
it's
love
Yes.
so
Yep.
Trial
good.
4. It's so good. The song
Yeah.
music in that. Probably also my most replayed trial, just casually. Maybe that's
Mhm.
why I like it so much.
Yep, Garo really outdid himself with this one. It's like, uh, oh god, like yeah, for trial 3, like the battle version. Oh yeah, just have a little bit of like a jungle drum and bass thing going on. There's like, we have this in the soundtrack now. That's amazing. I love
Sure.
it so much. Like legit, when I first heard that song in beta testing, I was like just sitting there, not even moving. I'm like, oh, this is so good. This is so good. I love
Yeah.
it so much. Thank you so much, Garo. You continue to be brilliant in everything you make.
Yeah, it is very good. I actually return to the trial music a lot to put music in the podcast now
Yeah,
because I'm like, yeah, I want to put that in again.
yeah. And the Trial 5 music again, just like beautiful. Like the little like synthetic choir as you see like the tapestries of like the events of the game, like
Yeah.
like the construction of the facility and what they were used for is like excellent, just wonderful. No notes. They
Yeah.
they they they
Mhm.
they, they did an outstanding job. I understand why people are frustrated with some of it, but the quality of them is undeniable, I feel.
It's so much better than if, because I was afraid when it said boss rush, it's going to be all floor one bosses, all floor two bosses, because that
Hmm.
was kind of the original idea that I had for
Mhm.
boss rush modes in
Yeah.
roguelikes. Like, not to throw shade at any other unnamed like games like Gungeon, where it's just like you go from one boss to the other and
Hmm.
that's it. Like, there's nothing special about it. This was so much more resonant,
Interesting.
interesting. Just I actually enjoy replaying them.
Hmm.
That's a very, like, in my opinion, like a hallmark of something being like done really well. It's not
Hmm.
Yeah.
just I would rather do a run with like cool guns and stuff like that. Like, no, like
Hmm.
the way it's been set up here is pretty nice, and it's
Hmm.
also pretty thought provoking. Like everything you mentioned, the music is incredible. Also, a big reason I love replaying it. Yeah, just the whole
Yeah.
package. They did a great job.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
it
They could have made it just a straightforward boss rush, and it is very much not that. It
Nope.
has its own unique character.
feels like a very unique way of tackling the question of doing a boss rush. I hope that the people who were asking for boss rush way back in 2018 came back for the game and are playing it now, being like, "Oh man, I hope they like it." Maybe they don't. Maybe like, "Oh man, like I wanted like a Hollow Knight thing where I just have to do like 25 bosses in a row or
Yeah,
something."
I'm sure that we would have all much preferred that version.
Some people legit will go for that, you know.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I hope those people made it back as well. I think it's definitely worth experiencing and worth playing. So I hope to beat the remaining trials eventually someday.
Mhm.
I I definitely think you are capable of beating Trials 3 and 4 for sure.
For
Trial
sure.
5 will require
Commitment.
a different kind of commitment. It is very challenging, especially if you're not like a shmup pro gamer like Ruben here.
But I mean, it wasn't easy for me either, so maybe that's not the bar you want to set it at.
When I make it there, I'm definitely going to be consulting both of you for advice. So
Always say,
It's strange. Like when I was in beta testing, Trial 5 felt like so insurmountable, and nowadays it's like every like month or so you see like a new person clearing Trial 5. It's like, damn, the people are really good at this game.
also shows part of it that it's actually like fun enough to replay it over and over again. Like if
Hmm.
it was a normal boss rush and they just tacked that boss on the end, maybe I don't think half the people who cleared it would have even bothered. The fact that it's like such a cool and unique experience that they make you go through the
yeah,
council boss, I think guess it's also just like a good like appetizer for what's to come. I don't know how else to call it, like because it's
Hmm.
like the thing right before the real fight, right?
Hmm.
And it leads into each other so well. It's very well done.
yeah. And lore wise, we didn't mention this, but I think it does bear mentioning that like that the fact that the council that you're fighting the council is really really awesome
Yep.
Yes,
because it's
so
kind
good.
of like just to see them basically I mean I don't know if it's actually them or whatever, but like to see the council working together against you is pretty awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah, kind of sad that that's the only time we ever see them do anything together, which is try to beat the crap out of you.
They hang out
Yeah.
in a poster in the hub, I think,
Yeah.
together.
Well, they're always a presence, right? Like you see
Mhm.
statues of them, you hear mention of them. And so the fact that they finally appear, like I should give more credit to the fact that like how awesome that is. Like that is very, very cool.
Mhm. Although people might not know this, in beta, before the council fight was added, you just had that room with the placeholder silly face,
Oh
6 of them in
yeah,
a row.
What?
I remember this. Now you mentioned it, that was really funny.
Yeah, just but when there was no fight there, the placeholder was just 6 of these silly faces in a row, and that's it. That's the room. So it was definitely a surprise for us when like the council fight was actually at it. It's like,
Mhm.
what is this?
You were like, oh, that's who they were.
Yeah, yeah. Though curiously, Demon's not in there. He's not joining them. And Arbiter, but like
He's
he
waiting
got it.
in the
He's got
next
his
room.
own like whole like I don't know how many minutes long that fight is, but you're like at least 5 minutes doing nothing but Arbiter. I think.
I think they got this fair share there.
Yep. I think Pure's OC is powerful enough now. He doesn't need to keep giving it
Next
even more.
DLC, twice as strong somehow. He goes into his even more ultimate form.
He creates 6 more copies of himself, so now you're fighting 7 arbiters at once.
I actually
Uh,
should stop talking because we're going to give him ideas with this.
like we know there's a DLC 2 coming at some point in the future,
Yeah, that's what I'm
so
saying. We don't. Let's not give them ideas because they are going to make new stuff.
it
And if
does
he
make me
has,
wonder if there are going to be new boss fights in the future. Will there be more trials?
Mm. Well, Pure, if you're listening to this episode too, let us know.
But yeah, we know that, and the devs have proven to us that the boss rush was not just like a hurriedly done feature. They put a lot of thought into how it should be and the way it should be presented and experienced. So, you know, thank you for like taking it seriously and giving us something very delightful.
Hello, listeners. This is Malachi and Nick jumping in here because after we recorded our episode with Ruben, we very quickly realized we did not discuss a very important aspect of the trials, which is the wallpapers, the unlockable wallpapers that you get from the trials. And so we wanted to acknowledge that because we figured we'd be getting messages and people saying, hey, why didn't you talk about the wallpapers?
Mhm.
So, yeah, here we are.
So for people who have only been playing the game since the Into Oblivion update, the game
Mm,
just did not used to have wallpapers. Like the sides of your screen were just black the entire
yeah,
time. And
yep.
we were just kind of used to it. It's like that's just how it is. So wallpapers were this fancy addition that at one point in time was actually seen as really exciting, especially when we got some teasers from Alex, like showing cool art. I specifically remember you, Malachi, being like, I think this got recorded on one of the was like, doesn't this feel like we're gonna get cutscenes? We're gonna get cool in-game
Hmm.
cinematics, and we're like,
Hmm.
I had to just sort of sit there and be like, yeah, no, they're well. Was not aware at the time that they were going to do that. They could have. They don't tell us
Hmm.
everything. They sure as hell didn't tell us a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But the bits that I knew were wallpapers. I'm like, okay, yeah, no, they're just wallpapers. So at one point in time, that was a really exciting addition, and it just sort of very quickly became like, yeah, they're there, they're neat,
Hmm. Yeah.
but we're talking about it this episode because by quantity or by percentage, wallpapers are primarily a reward for beating trials. There's only 2 that you are not from beating trials. One's a freebie, one's a loop 13 thing. And I did want to mention that there is a bit of a one-sided relationship between what I would call the core gameplay, of Star Province, which is just like doing the runs and interacting with all of the roguelike elements, and the trials, because to unlock the trials, you do need to do
Hmm.
runs to defeat the bosses, do the loops, and all of these things. Like you can't access the trials without having invested a significant amount of time into the main game, as it were. But
Hmm.
if someone were so inclined, they could just completely ignore the trials and just keep playing the game. Just be like, oh, these are boss rushes. Not boss rushes are not my thing, and I just like turn off and like. I guess if they also don't care about wallpapers, they would genuinely have no reason to do them. Just they're there.
Mhm.
But wallpapers are cool. Wallpapers are neat.
Yeah, the wallpapers are awesome. I think they're a great addition to the game. I would say, I mean, they are a reward for completing the trials, but I think that they're just kind of like an extra little thing because the real reward, at least in my experience, is actually beating a trial.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that for me, the wallpaper pales in comparison to, the reward of just the satisfaction of actually beating one of the trials. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't look at I mean, I am going to keep trying to beat all the trials, right? But the driving factor there, the thing that's making me want to complete them is not the wallpapers,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want those wallpapers so badly that I'm gonna play the trials. I want to beat them because I want to beat them, but it is a really nice thing to have as a reward.
Yeah, they're just. I enjoy the. I think they look pretty great. I think Alex did a fantastic job, sort of doing all of this star prov artwork
Hmm.
that is kind of it's weird. It's not concept art. It's not lore. It's not in-game thematics. It's just it's not. Sometimes it's not even scenes because sometimes they can be quite abstract. It's just kind of. I guess don't have a much better term for it than just Star of Providence aesthetic images. And maybe that's
Yeah,
just what Alex was like. These are just things that come to his mind when making this. He's a very talented artist, and I think it came out excellent.
yeah, and fans of the game that have been on the Discord, I mean, we often bring up Alex's art and like links are shared of like, oh, check this out. He posted this to his Deviant art like a long time ago. This looks very Star of Providency. And
Mhm.
so yeah, like I think it's awesome that the game finally features a lot of that really cool that style,
Mhm.
because fans of Alex's work had been kind of not like they weren't what's the word for it? It wasn't like there wasn't like a black market of Alex art, but it was like the people that were digging for it would find it, right?
I think it's more so the case that typically when people think about Alex's art, they think about in-game sprite work, which is very good.
Sure.
But this is an opportunity for Alex to display art that's not that. It can be a bit more
Hmm.
freeform. It can be different styles. It can just be presented in a different way. It's
Yeah.
just it's showing more of Alex's artistic chops and letting people know that he's not just a very talented sprite maker. He's just very good at art in general, and I think this harkens back to something that you and I touched on in the finale of season one, which is like, yeah, Alex actually has a long history of making art and projects like these. He's genuinely
Yeah.
really talented, and we get to see just a little bit of that coming into the game through these wallpapers.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think that's the best thing about him right there. I think that sums it up. It was a lovely addition, and I'm glad they're in there. I will say though, the bait and switch from the trailers making me think that there were cutscenes, like as you mentioned.
Well,
It was heartbreaking to realize that
I would argue there was no bait and switch there. That was you.
Renegade literally moves in the trailer.
Okay, that's true.
He moves.
I will give you that. But I think it's also like you were. And I just feel like you built up your own hopes a bit too much there, and like because we already know that Team D13 will sometimes just make assets just for trailers and then not use them in game. Like, but it's also easy for me to say that because again, I'm a beta tester, so I kind of have a better feel for not necessarily exactly everything that makes the cut, but like a
Hmm.
general feel for like, oh, what will be incorporated and what is the the time they have available to add all of these things. And
Yeah.
I would say cutscenes would have been amazing. They would have been fantastic. We still get just mostly like in-game kind of interactions. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
circling back a little bit because we kind of got distracted. The wallpapers being trial rewards mostly is something that I can feel can rub people the wrong way because they
Mhm.
feel like I want the cool wallpapers, but I have to do this extremely difficult thing to get them done, especially Trial 5, which is it's the one that I use partly because I like to show people I've cleared Trial 5. It can
Sure.
serve as a this subtle marker of prowess, but also it's
Mhm.
just a really cool one. It's the council clad in like this kind of bluish green. I really
Mhm.
like it, but I also can feel like people can be frustrated with like I want the cool wallpaper. The game is going to ask me to do one of the hardest things it has to allow me to have it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people, I would say the majority of players will not get the wallpapers.
Yeah,
That's yeah. I think I mentioned this in the main episode, but I do think that's a little bit of a shame. But uh, it is what it is. I'm glad they exist. I'm glad they added them to the game, and I hope that they add more in the future because that's definitely something they could do.
I think there is no shortage of fantastic artwork Alex can make if he's
Hmm.
driven to do it. Maybe perhaps people would want some wallpapers, some more wallpapers that are
Featuring crawlers.
yeah, maybe, but like
Maybe there's someone
with
out there. I don't know.
yeah, yeah, but like maybe are less challenging to unlock. Maybe you just have one or two that are a little bit more you can have these. Ultimately, people just want to have more options. Like, can I just have more wallpapers to choose from? Or maybe
Yeah.
people want to be like, I want this wallpaper on the left side and this wallpaper on the right side because that's cool for me. Probably not, but like, or heck, in the future, people can mod in their own backgrounds if they so desire.
Yeah, I think that's already happened.
I
I
am,
saw that on the modding channel on the
yeah, I've
Discord.
not been keeping up to date with that channel, sadly.
Yeah.
I
Well,
There's
I
a
haven't
lot
really either,
going
but that
on.
was one of the first things that happened. I'm pretty
Mhm.
sure.
Well, good on
Because
them.
gosh, hang on. It was what's his name? Gosh dang it, man. I'm tired, so I can't think of people's names right now.
Yeah,
It
that's
was
fair.
Ian. It was Ian Boney. He put What If Girls art. I
Mm,
remember.
it's a good
Yeah,
choice.
Ian posted. Yeah, Ian posted.
Oh, there is
Uh,
one specific artwork from her I would really like to have as a background.
yeah, I think
Um,
it's fairly easy to do. So.
it would be like for those of you who have seen this, you probably won't recognize, but it's like this piece that's like mostly monochrome, and on the right hand side you have like the twin spires. On the left side you have like null pilot clutching like the helmet under their
Mm,
arm. Like that
hmm.
would be super cool as a background. I would love that.
Yeah. I think more backgrounds though is definitely something they should do. It seems like it'd be easy, and I would love that. Like in an update down the line, just
Hmm.
get some cool new backgrounds. So yeah, do like a Halloween one or something. Spooky
Um,
one, holiday one.
I
The
thought you said you
possibilities are
weren't much
endless.
of a holiday person like that, or a
Well, there's
seasonal
already
person.
I'm not, but I don't mean like actual Christmas decorations. I just mean that they could release around that time, right? I don't
You
know.
you don't you don't want like a Santa Claus background adorning the sides of your game.
Only if it's Klein's wearing a Santa hat. That's all I'll
Th-
say.
There is artwork of that already. I know there is of like
Yeah.
of them and like I think a hermit on like a sleigh from some fan artist. I'm gonna feel terrible that I can't remember the name of right now.
Yeah. I'll take any Kleina's backgrounds that we can get. I would love some Kleina's backgrounds.
Hmm.
So yeah, make it happen, Alex. Ruben, thanks for coming back and talking to us on the show. It's always a pleasure to have you here, my friend.
It's super fun to talk about the trials. Thanks for having me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We'll link to your YouTube in the show notes, and you can see lots of great gaming footage. Thanks so much for listening to our Star Providence Fancast. Big thanks, as always, to Garoslaw and AlexMdle for allowing us to use their music and sound effects in the podcast. Our intro music was made for us by Garo, and we love it so much. Thanks, Garo.
And you can find more of Garo's music, especially the trial music, which is amazing, over at his Bandcamp. You have Volume 1, which is After the End, Volume 2, which is Relics of the Past and Into Oblivion, and then the 5th anniversary soundtrack edition. So thank you very much, Garo.
If you have any comments or suggestions for the show, you can reach out to us on our Discord server. We'll post the server link in the show notes.
And there you will find fellow pilots to talk with and discuss the show. Thanks for listening. We'll hope you'll join us next time.
This is what you came for, isn't it?
So be it.